What's going on, game players? How are you guys doing? Man, I want to welcome y'all to another roundtable discussion with three gentlemen that I consider my friends, and they are not strangers to you guys. You guys have heard from these guys before, so let me get to some intros. First, let me introduce, I call him the feedback MVP. He has been around for quite some time, writing in and week out. I want to welcome Mr. Cody Clark to the show. How are you doing, man?
Good. Although I lost my record there. I missed a week.
Hey, brother, it's okay, man. It's all right, man. I think everybody doing E3 week, everybody was just trying to reset the Jets, brother. It's all good, man. But second up, I want to introduce to you guys Mr. Goose, who was the first person again to actually give me a game. What's going on, brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing fine, Kiaun. Glad to be here. I hope you will drop maybe a couple less F-bombs than you did during E3. I was shocked. I was like, that was a legit F-bomb. Microsoft makes it straight. I was like,
man, brother, I was
no frag, just no fraught. Straight up F-bomb.
I got to be honest with you, Goose. I gotta be honest with you, brother. I thought, man, all I saw was red that day, brother. I was really, really upset. I didn't even know I cursed. If I cursed, listeners, hey, I apologize. My apologies, humbly. I apologize. Oh my goodness, my gracious. And last but certainly, absolutely not least, matter of fact, this gentleman, I think you were the first one to actually win a contest that I had. This was a while back, and I want to welcome this brother. Yeah, man, I want to welcome to the show.
Year supply of potatoes.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Mike J, what's going on, brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys all doing today? Happy summer finally, huh?
Yeah, man. My goodness, feels good to get some sun on my face. You know, my gosh. So, man, listen, brothers. E3 2019. There was some ups. There was some downs, let me tell you. And I guess basically I want to get, since we weren't able to talk to each other during E3 week, or at least do a podcast together, I just want to get you guys impressions of E3 2019 as a whole. I'm sure you guys know kind of my feelings on some of the stuff, but I guess let's start with Mike J. Mike, how did you feel did you see the Square Enix conference, out of curiosity?
Yeah. Yes, that one I liked. It was pretty good. The crowd looked like they were planted, if not fed a lot of alcohol to react accordingly, but for the most part, it was pretty good. I know a lot of it was re-releases, but that's Square's bread and butter. A lot of those old franchises, people have been waiting for a newer way to play them, and it's not like a re-release from a generation ago. These are some games that, they dug back a good 15, 20 years, with the exception of Last Remnant, but, so that was like kind of cool, nice little surprise, especially the Final Fantasy VIII announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, the Marvel Avengers game looks pretty cool. It was good to actually see something in regards to that, because nobody had, seen or heard anything of it since it was announced. So the fact that it actually exists and it's a real game that's coming, with near future, and them showing off some stuff, even though it wasn't a lot of gameplay, but it was nice seeing that. The Final Fantasy VII remake, obviously, that was the highlight of the show for many. What more is there to say about that one than hasn't already been said? I like how they kind of danced around the topic that it was only the first episode. They never really stated as such in the E3 show, but that's technically the first of however many episodes they want to do. So we'll see how things go from there. But overall, I enjoyed their show. I thought Square Enix did a great job.
Yeah, so did I, man. What about you, Goose? How did you feel about it?
Well, along the lines of the sad state of affairs for this year's E3 in total, the default prize goes to any video game that was willing to show actual gameplay.
Man, you get a round of applause for that, Goose. That was one of my biggest gripes, man.
Yeah. My official policy is I never get excited about pre-rendered CG. I might look at it and go, that was a cool CG cutscene, but that means jack squat about gameplay, because CG can just do anything, and it doesn't even have to be indicative of how gameplay actually is. But Final Fantasy VII Remake showed us quite a long amount of actual gameplay of the game in action. It looked nice, it looked fun, and I'm not upset that I said long ago where I was like, it's just too much content, they gotta break it down into episodic, because doing all of the game as a remake, as one big kabam, is going to be multi-disc, and it's going to take them another 7 or 8 years to get through the entire game.
Yeah.
So episodic is the only way to do it. So yeah, one of the precious few things that there was actual gameplay at on E3. So I was like, they get the default prize that gets handed out for everybody on that.
Yeah, that was actually an interesting point that you brought up too, Goose, because they did say it with this first episode. This alone is going to ship on 2 Blu-ray discs alone. So yeah, like you said, the content would probably just be too massive to try to put all into one package, I guess. So yeah, that's a really good point, man. What about you, Cody? How did you feel about the Square Enix show?
I am not a fan of Square Enix, so I completely ignored it.
Get out of here! Really?
I've never. I mean, Chrono Trigger was the last Square Enix game I really, really loved and played. I don't care about Deus Ex. I don't care about. Yeah, no, they're just not. It's not my cup of tea.
So not even the Avengers game?
No, I don't really. I'm not really interested in movie tie-in games. If they show up and they're cool, awesome. I don't care until they come out. How many bad Iron Man games has Sega made? So I don't care. That don't impress me much.
But I mean, it's Square Enix though, Cody. I mean, did you at least see the game? Did you at least see what it looked like?
I saw some screenshots of it after the fact, but it just doesn't interest me. I've already, I don't really, it's just like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, whatever thing for Nintendo.
Oh yeah, they can keep that,
cool.
Bro. They can keep
but
it.
They're like, that's cool. It's just, that's not the type of game I'm playing right now. So it doesn't spark me any interest. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Square Enix, it didn't do it for you at all.
They don't have any IPs I currently care about. I mean, whatever John mentioned, this new cross between Chrono Trigger / Secret of Mana, whatever game that's coming out, that sounds, hooray, kind of in my field, but yeah, otherwise none of these, I don't care about any of these IPs currently. So yeah, for me, it was not a pass, not a fail. It was just a present and accounted for.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's fair. That's fair. I guess for me though, Square Enix, good grief, this was like a highlight show for me. Seeing the gameplay of Final Fantasy VII. That was the first RPG I had ever put any time into, and seeing, Cloud with the Buster Sword and Barrett, out there on the battlefield, as it were, shooting his cannon. It was just amazing. And the thing about this game that really excited me the most was, I remember seeing the movie, what was it called? The Spirits Within, the Final Fantasy movie years ago. And I used to dream and hope that one day we would get to that point where a Final Fantasy game, or any game for that matter, would be on the same graphical caliber. And this, even though it's not 100% there, I mean,
we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting close, man. We're getting really close. So that was a highlight for me. The Avengers game, looking at the gameplay that you could tell was actual gameplay in the trailer, that looks very promising. Final Fantasy VIII, remaster, or I always get it mixed up between a remix or a remaster or something. They just up in the graphics of Final Fantasy VIII. That was one of my favorites as well, with Squall with the gunblade. Oh, it's just amazing to see, man. So I thought Square Enix, when E3 was starting to take a bit of a dip for me, that really helped to kind of get me up out of the funk a little bit when I saw their show. So I thought it was a solid showing as well. And definitely looking forward to a lot of the games that they got coming out in 2020. I don't think they have much coming out this year. But yeah, I was really excited, man. But let me ask you guys about Nintendo. Now I'm a hypocrite. I'm going to say it. I really enjoyed Nintendo show, but I don't even play on the Switch, and it's in the box. I know I'm terrible, but I have to say that the Nintendo, well, it wasn't really an E3 presentation. I guess you would just call it a direct, the E3 direct. I was thoroughly impressed, man. They showed so many games, and to me, looking at it, not necessarily as a huge Nintendo fan, it just looked like they got their fan base. Everything that their fan base, outside of Metroid, of course, they had been asking for, they delivered on. Even seeing Banjo-Kazooie show up on their stage, I just thought it was absolutely amazing. Did any of you guys have the same reaction to the Nintendo Direct, or were you guys kind of mediocre on it? I mean, anybody can jump in. You can just feel free.
I thought they had the best showing of the big publishers at the show.
So did I, man. I thought the same thing, Mike. I thought they showed a little bit for everybody. I thought
huge improvement over last year, where they blew most of their time on Smash Brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was weird when they had that much time to one game.
Yeah,
it was like 20 minutes per character, and it's like, what are you doing? I don't need to know that much about Kirby. I just show him jumping and slamming a brick, and I'm done.
That could have been its own Treehouse special. Like, hey, we're doing this on Smash. No, seriously, because they barely showed any of their upcoming games in that time frame, and then they did like small chunks in their Treehouses, and I think last year they should have switched, but this year they really did a great job.
Yeah.
They won for me for the absolute best moment at E3 this year was that Banjo-Kazooie troll reveal. That was so perfect. That was the moment they started to show the silhouettes, and then they pull in, and it's all of a sudden just Duck Hunt. And I got so mad, and I felt like all that rage just going like, you gotta be kidding. Like, you, Nintendo, you are the worst. And before even the hatred could reach my heart, they're like, just kidding, and slam. They land down with a perfect intro, and I'm just like, oh my god. I was laughing so hard, and there was the biggest smile on my face, and I was like, that's how you do it. That's how you troll. Immediately following up with the, just kidding, guys. No reason to be hating. But that was the best moment. But, they showed a couple of the various RPGs that are coming out, and it's like, I still don't have a Switch, but I have, I think it's like 14 Switch games, and they're all the various RPGs that have been coming out, and I'm waiting. I keep waiting for the Switch XL.
See, you and Kiaun should get together and maybe actually make this work somehow. There's a massive Switch. Yeah. Somehow.
But the thing is, though, when it comes to Nintendo and that, Hori wins because they're making because I'm always waiting for the Switch XL and, Joy-Cons that can fit in a normal human being's hands.
Yeah.
And Hori is making the first officially licensed, Elite Joy-Cons. So it's just regular controllers. You sock it into the sides of the Switch, and there you are.
They're up for pre-order on Amazon.
Oh, I didn't even.
If you want.
Wow, I didn't even know about that. That sounds amazing. The only thing that I saw that to me would have made me open the Switch by now, possibly, was they have these new grips that actually make it feel more like you actually have a control. Oh, that is it. That is the one. Yeah, that thing looks amazing, man.
No. They're rubberized grips they have to put on it to expand it outward so your hand can kind of fit on the Joy-Con.
Okay.
But what we're talking about, a full-on replacement, like you slide them in, and it's like splitting imagine taking your Xbox One Elite controller, splitting it in half, and plugging it into your Switch. It even has the two paddle buttons underneath, which are programmable. It doesn't have 4 of them, just 2, one on each side. But you can program some top-facing buttons down to underneath, so you have your reload and your grenade throw or whatever you want to put on it, the block and the dash, down underneath the controller.
Yeah, man. I tell you, yeah, that's awesome to hear, though. That's really cool.
And I guess the big boy again on the Nintendo end was the Breath of the Wild sequel.
Oh my goodness, man! Did y'all see that IGN War Room reaction video?
No.
Where you would have thought they won the Super Bowl, man. I mean, they were in some kind of bar. And when they showed the Zelda trailer, and it said, the new Zelda is being worked on. I mean, the whole crowd erupted like, man, they just won a championship. It was absolutely amazing.
I don't understand why they freaked out about that. That the knowledge that they were remaking Breath of the Wild, the Game Boy game on the Switch, that's been known for like 3 months.
No, that's
it's
Link's Awakening.
Breath of the Wild. I thought it was a sequel.
No, this is a sequel. Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
I don't. Okay. To me, I'm like, it's a sequel. Who cares? But okay. I was more excited about them remaking the Game Boy version because that was a good game. So I was like, okay, cool. But so I totally thought it. I was super confused. I didn't realize it. I thought they were getting all freaked out about. I didn't really. Okay. So.
They really love their Game Boy Pocket.
Another coffee.
But yep, massive props to Nintendo for the willingness to announce a game that they just started development on.
Man, wink, Microsoft.
Tell us.
Exactly.
Just tell us you're doing it, and we'll all cheer and say it's being worked on. Like, no release date, no anything. If it gets delayed for 3 years, sure, fine. But it looks like it's the same engine, so they should be able to make this sequel pretty quickly. It ought to feel like a giant expansion.
Yeah.
I guess they've been working on it for a while, actually. See, part of me, when I saw that, I was really hoping they'd drop a surprise Get It Today expansion for Breath of the Wild. And then, there's precedent been set for that, but I am kind of happy to see that it's a full-blown out sequel with, as much content as the first one there, so.
Yeah, it absolutely looks great, man. I mean, just seeing the graphical art style, some people are saying it's going to be a bit darker than the other one was, with some kind of, I guess, darker elements to it. But nonetheless, man, it just seemed like Nintendo, like you said, Goose, they just stole the show this year. I mean, all of the games. And the thing that I loved about their Direct was it was just games. It was no filler. It was just, here's this game. Let's roll to the next game. And they did all of this in like 40-something minutes. It wasn't even that long. They were able to give you all of these different games, all of these different experiences that are coming out. Did you see how many games on the Switch are dropping this year alone? It is an astronomical amount. I thought that they were going to have Mario Maker 2 and maybe 1 or 2 other games, and they were going to be done for the year. They have so much content. I mean, my goodness, Luigi's Mansion 2, that comes out sometime this year, if I'm not mistaken. And that game, I'm not even a Luigi's Mansion fan, but that game looks like a boatload of fun, and the graphics look really, really good on that game. So I was just really happy to see Nintendo finally getting to a better place. Now, hold on. Wait a minute. Speaking of Nintendo getting to a better place, do you guys think that this has happened? Because this is mighty interesting that these things are happening now that, and I might be looking into it a little too far, but Nintendo is under new leadership now, right? What's his name? Bowser, I believe?
Yep.
Now, with Reggie...
What position is he in? Because I didn't think he was replacing Reggie. I thought he was replacing the guy who moved over to Microsoft, the third party portfolio manager.
Reggie. I think he was replacing Reggie.
Yeah, I thought he was too. I could be wrong though. Somebody write in and tell me how wrong I am.
I thought he was the third party.
We have Google for this.
Yeah, you can do it in the background and look it up.
Yep, President of Nintendo America.
Oh, okay. Wow, you were fast, Mike. God dog,
Boom.
Brother. Wow. But yeah, that's my question. Since they have had this guy, now I know Reggie's just been gone a few short months. I mean, it hasn't been forever. But do you guys think that since they have new leadership over there, that Nintendo is really moving? Because this is a stat that blew me away when I heard this. they said that Nintendo, and this is when you know it's bad for Microsoft, Nintendo had more M-rated games shown on their stage than Microsoft did. How does that even happen? So I want to know you guys' opinion. Since they have new leadership, do you think that that is the reason why Nintendo is starting to flourish and really get out there and really rally behind their fan base, giving them the things that they want and making so many great games that that audience is in tune with? Do you think it's the leadership, or do you think that this is what Nintendo was planning on the whole time with Reggie being at the helm and everybody else?
I think it started when Reggie was there, because I mean, these things take years to develop, and to be able to cultivate the collection of studios to either make the games or design them. So just having Doug in right now, stepping in basically after most of the work was done. I mean, we've known about a lot of these.
The Wii was also there was practically no third-party development for the Wii, right? So that was the big major complaint. So they had to do a 360 and say, okay. Now you have this nice, easy piece of technology, and everyone's like, if you put it on the Switch, you're probably going to, move a couple of units. Mm-hmm. So strike while the iron's hot.
But it seems like a lot of these games, though, I mean, now correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of them are exclusives, though. I mean, these RPGs, I haven't heard of them coming to,
a lot of them are like old Vita games.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's that there's a lot of titles that I had to import from my Vita from Japan, and they even made English versions of them in China on Vita, and then they don't bring the English versions to America for the Vita, but they'll bring them to America on the Switch in English.
That's very interesting.
It's about 30 to 40% of the JRPGs and action titles are all Vita stuff just being brought over to Switch instead, and nothing on Vita for it, since it's done and gone. Even in Japan, they're pretty much saying goodbye to it.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah, that's something. That is something. Well, to me, Nintendo, they were awesome. I enjoyed their show. Had so many great games that they showed. They showed off a new Contra, for goodness sakes. Man, who the world saw that coming? Brand new Contra.
Just out of curiosity, does anybody like the new Contra they showed?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Goose. I'll step up to the plate, brother. I gotta be honest. I don't think I'm gonna be a huge fan of it, but I do appreciate the fact that we at least have a new Contra. I'm not against trying it out. It looks a little different, of course, as it has to be. I mean, it's 2019. I don't think they could have kept the same side-scrolling art style, but
it has all the random weird characters, like playing as the bug or whatever that thing is. Like there's a larva that you run around as. I honestly don't think this was a Contra game. I think this is one of those, when somebody makes a game and it doesn't go anywhere, and then they say, how about we just call it Contra?
Oh, and slap the name on it to try to give it more credit.
It's just a twin-stick shooter that, what about this feels like Contra? You could have also called this Battletoads and been it's pretty much a Battletoads game. Enjoy.
Don't
Smash TV. Smash TV.
There you go, because that was at least a twin-stick shooter,
Yeah.
So I don't feel too good about that. I do like the idea of the Contra collection that came out that Nintendo announced only for Switch, but it was on everything.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, that's on everything for sure, man. Definitely. But Shugs, any last words on Nintendo before we move on, though, man? Any last comments?
That default prize for showing gameplay. Bravo.
Yeah, exactly.
Another prize for announcing stuff before it's done.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine and perfectly okay.
To be honest, even if Sony was there this year, and it was Nintendo's show to have, because both Microsoft and Sony are what we'll say in lame duck years, where they don't want to announce too much right now because they have a new system coming next year, but they still need to kind of keep some sort of interest going. Nintendo, they're doing really well with the Switch, so they may as well run with it and try to capitalize on that momentum while they still can, because, a year or two down the road, we may be looking at a totally different situation. Interest in the Switch may die off.
So interesting point, Mike.
They gotta hit now, and they're doing good. Whereas,
how
Xbox,
their sales have been, because didn't they almost catch up with Xbox One? Didn't they?
That's what I heard. Yeah,
it's 30 million units already in 2 years. They
And they outsold the PS4 in Japan already.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just on a tear, man. They're doing absolutely amazing.
So they may as well run with that momentum because, like I said, in 2 years, who knows
Right.
where we'll be.
Exactly.
I
Right
still
now-
yet to see any what one Switch in the wild ever. I've never actually seen I've never seen them. Everyone has them. I've never seen them.
Yeah.
I'm super bad.
I've seen a lot. I've only seen one Vita in the wild in my, time since owning one since 2012. But Switches, I've seen lots of them in lots of different places.
Yeah, I saw one once. When it first released, I went to GameStop for something. I forgot what it was, a gift card or something like that. And the guy had one. I was like, oh, man, that looks interesting. He was like, oh, man, it's this, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, man, it's cool. But, yeah, I just don't see people walking around with them here in Baltimore. I just don't see it. And plus, I'm not catching the bus either. So, I don't know. People say that they're playing them on the bus, on the subway or whatever. So, yeah.
I'm not counting trips like to PAX or some other gaming related event.
Because we'll see Vitas there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't count that because that's, you're kind of setting that one up. But like, just trips for work that I'll take, and I'll be walking, up and down the train or plane or what have you, and I'll see people playing them. So they're out there. They are out there. And I know at least, like in our general circle of friends, about 12, 13 people that own them. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, shout out to Nintendo, man. Keep doing your thing. It's great to see that, they're doing so well. It's really good, man. I guess Bethesda was there. We ain't got a hard point. Bethesda. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, technically, I guess they were there. But
they apologized for showing up.
Man.
I was glad Todd Howard took the stage. I was sitting there going like, man, what is he gonna say to us?
Right.
And it was like he still found something to make us go like, okay, we're still mad at you, but yeah, that's a good joke.
Yeah.
I'm surprised any of you are here due to all of last year's excitement, air quotes,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was okay, man. I didn't think it was bad at all. I thought it was solid. I thought it was solid.
My disappointment was the whole Commander Keen thing. I saw that in a mobile game. That would have been a nice, quick downloadable on the Switch or the Xbox or PS4
Did you see
as
those
well.
screens after screen of microtransactions when they're like, it's so exciting with all these gadgets, and they all got price tags on them, and I was like, oh god.
It sounds like somebody
Killing
from
me.
EA decided to say, hey, look what we did with Ultima Forever and Dungeon Keeper Online, got fired, and then went to Bethesda. That sounds exactly like...
Oh, man. Yeah, we don't have to harp on Bethesda too much. I was glad to hear that
everyone else already did.
Yeah. But this conference, oh man, that I definitely want to talk about is Microsoft's conference. What the heck did we see during the Microsoft conference? See, this was my gripe. People got mad at me, man. They were like, oh my goodness, can't believe you're talking about it. Talking about Microsoft so bad. They showed a lot of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they showed a lot of stuff that wasn't impressive to me. First off, Cyberpunk 2077. I was so excited to see this game. And I know Microsoft, they don't control this, but it was on their stage, so I'm holding them accountable just by default. But Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most anticipated games of 2020. You have it on your stage. We saw it last year, just a small preview. So this year, everybody, at least me, I'm like, well, yeah, we're going to get some gameplay. It's going to be awesome. They're going to blow it out 2020 or 2019, whenever. And they get on the stage and they show a freaking CG trailer. A CG trailer. Don't get me wrong. CG trailer looked good. Looked really good, but I'm tired of seeing these CG trailers. It does nothing for me. Like you said, Goose, it doesn't get me excited either. Because the gameplay and the CG trailer could be two totally different experiences. So they came up there, showed that. I wasn't moved, and a ton of AA games. A ton. outside of the EA Star Wars, that looked dope. Some other third party games look good, but these Game Pass games, my goodness, I don't know. Look, listen, you guys take it over. I want to get you guys' thoughts because I don't want to go on a rant, but I think I am. But you guys, please take the floor. Whoever wants it, you got it, man.
The thing was, like, when we did our prediction show, and I said the one thing at Microsoft that would straight up get me mad was the whole, like, Sony's not even on the field, so if Phil Spencer hypes it up and then gets up to the, he can hit a home run for free, and if he goes up to the plate and, waves to the crowd and hams it up, and then just bunts, and then walks all the bases acting like he's making history by, getting a home run on a bunt, and it's like, dude, you stink. But it's like, E3 came around, and, he hit the ball into the field, and then just walked up to second base and said, like, this is about all I deserve. And it's like, what? Like, he didn't even walk to home. He just went to second plate and sat there and was like, that's enough. That's truly enough out of me.
I feel you.
How? How could you mess this up? Like, even getting the free home run, he didn't even take it. And it was all the mixed messaging and the bad messaging, like with across the board for the conference, not getting it through its head to just show gameplay. The thing that, and it wasn't just Microsoft with their no gameplay. That was everybody.
It was.
And the thing is, a lot of the fault goes to the BS of ad-driven media and the garbage of just clickbait and rage bait. All of the comparison videos everyone made to attack the crap out of Anthem and destroy it. All the, this is what they showed us, but this is what it is. It's all a big lie. Every game that they've attacked based on what was promised versus what is given. And they're like, the only thing they can show without anyone saying anything is show a bunch of fake CG until it releases. And it's like, we can't see someone take the stage and hold the controller in their hands and just play a game because everyone attacks the crap out of it. If there's any lag, which of course, the person on the stage is looking at a little monitor and seeing it live, but that footage has to then go 30 feet out to a transmitter to go to the thing to display on the giant 7,000-inch projector TV. And it's like, of course, there's going to be input lag from when they press a button versus what you see on the big screen. And so, like, a lot of ad-driven media outlets did this to everyone in the community by just finding every reason to constantly attack. And Microsoft, like a lot of the publishers out there, are paralyzed by this, and they won't give us the gameplay. And the other part is, I wish they'd listen to us as gamers over listening to ad-driven media outlets.
Yes.
And being just sliced with fear about this. Because, like, the Gears 5 should have been the easiest and simplest, like, thing to get excited about.
Absolutely.
And that rock bottom moronic decision to not show us the campaign. Yeah. That is a failing beyond measure. It's like they kept telling us, it's going to be this breathtaking, different, huge, look at this parasailing thing. There's going to be huge open environments. There's going to be, this is the game where we're going to be bold. We're going to be so bold. Last time Gears was the safe Gears. This time we're going to take risks. And it's like, okay, so here's the biggest stage on the world where you can show us those risks. And they just hit them like they're ashamed of them. And it's like, what are you doing? Now it's all fear-mongering. Now all the ad-driven media outlets are shrugging and going, I guess the campaign is trash. And we're just like, must be if they're not willing to show it. Mm-hmm. And then the roadmap they laid out was showing us all the multiplayer modes. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then the default prize they got for gameplay went to Gears Pop.
Oh my gosh.
Actual gameplay.
Oh my goodness. What a slap in the face. I mean, a huge slap in the face. They took the time out to show a mobile game outside of showing their actual AAA game on the stage with gameplay. That just blew my mind. Completely.
And they don't have the excuse of saying it wasn't ready. It's releasing this September. We got less than 3 months.
Yeah, give or take,
that's September 23rd. So that would be, that's less than 3 months. So it's coming out on the 10th.
Yeah. The week before Borderlands 3 or whatever.
3 days, I think, or something, like the Friday
man.
Before.
Jeez.
So it's like Gears is the weekend before Borderlands comes out. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. And like, for me, like the winner for Xbox's conference was the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Because that's where they kept putting Game Pass. And every time they were showing games, like every time a game would show, I'd just look in my eyes just kept instinctively going to lower left. Game Pass, done. Game Pass, done.
Exactly.
Game Pass, done. Like, I'm glad I sat down and converted my account, like had them both put together, my Xbox Live added into my Game Pass, and then putting the 1 month for $1 of Ultimate on top of it. Mm-hmm. Now I have Game Pass Ultimate, and I'm just like those 34 out of the 60 games that were all just Game Pass, which is like with the Outer Worlds when people are arguing about it's multi-platform. And I'm like, you know what? On my platform, Xbox, it's in Game Pass. I don't have to spend any money to get it anymore right now. Everyone already maxed it out and did their Game Pass Ultimate to 2022.
That's actually an interesting point, Goose, and I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you get Outer Worlds on PS4, you're going to pay $60 for it. Like, what's the difference? Why would you pay $60 over just being on Game Pass?
I ain't going to
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I ain't going to lie, Goose. I didn't really think of it that way, because in my mind, and I mean, I guess from rage, brother, I mean, just being upset as an Xbox fan, a huge Xbox fan, I wasn't even looking at it like that. I'm like, man, the Outer Worlds, who cares? It is a multi-plat. That's what I was saying. But I wasn't taking into consideration that at least it will be in Game Pass day and date, because in my opinion, and I'm not trying to switch gears, please don't lose your train of thought, Goose, but I was thinking in my mind, is Game Pass killing the Xbox AAA experience? Because I know you guys might say, well, man, I think you're going a little too far with that, but hear me out. The games that they showed, I mean, so many of them, countless amounts, were AA games at best. And I don't have a real gripe with AA games. I only have a gripe with it when you're not giving me any AAAs to go along with the doubles. I look at the doubles. Go ahead, Mike, what'd you say?
No, you're right. They need the AAAs to balance it out. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
High tide raises all ships.
Exactly, man. So it's like these AA's are fine. I have no problems with them as long as you're giving me AAA experiences. You can't just keep shoveling me AA experiences and saying, hey, it's okay that they're AA because they're in Game Pass. That justifies it. And that's how I felt. I felt like they're using Game Pass to justify not giving us AAA experiences, especially brand new AAA experiences. It's so many AA's in Game Pass. I feel like that's just that's what they're focused on. I don't think they're focused on AAA games unless it's Halo. Man, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Mm-hmm. It's like, I just feel like this whole new shift that is taking place under Phil Spencer has not done Xbox fans any justice. I feel like he's cheating his consumers. He's not giving us the experiences that people deserve to have on a $500 box that people paid this kind of money for 6 teraflops, and they haven't even maxed it out yet. And you want to keep pushing these AA games like it's fine, it's okay, because you can get them in Game Pass. I don't agree with it. Don't agree with it, but please, somebody jump in.
I'll give you the counterpoint on that one really quick. I think the reason you're seeing a lot of this fluff right now, because whatever they may have had in development maybe transitioned over to Scarlet, realizing that this generation was a lost cause. So if they can front load the Scarlet release schedule with whatever other AAA games that you may be looking for, then that may give them a stronger start for the next generation and at least keep some of this other stuff into this one just to keep themselves relevant for the next year. And I know it's sad because we've been playing the waiting game of let's see what happens next year, but I think
forever, Mike, brother.
And it feels like they took a page out of Nintendo's book back when they were, please understand, these things take time and please wait, and it's the same spiel.
See that go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
No, that's fine. It's just I think everyone thinking we were going to see the Fable reboot / Fable 4, whatever it might be. I mean, they're going to be waiting on that one for next year. Same thing with another Forza. They need a strong launch lineup. So maybe things were pushed out. They have Gears 5.
That Dino Crisis 3.
Yeah, where the heck was that? Yeah. And that's the thing. I know, and I had even mentioned that in, my reaction to it. I know as a person, I can't get upset that rumors don't come true. I understand that. Some things, they just don't happen. It's been so many rumors that I've gone over on the podcast, and it's just not true. So I get it. But Microsoft, you have bought all of these new studios. You just got Double Fine. I mean, hooray, I guess. Tim Schafer, I loved Full Throttle back in the day. It was absolutely amazing. But Tim Schafer, and this is not don't take this the wrong way, listeners. Tim Schafer, I think he's a cool guy. I think he's very creative. But I think that his work, at least the zone that he has been in lately with some of his games that he's made, have been double A's at best. Double A. Psychonauts 2, I don't know. Would you guys consider that a triple A or a double?
It's going to have graphically, it looks like an HD version of
Two and a half.
Yeah. I don't.
I mean, that's the thing. And I lost my train of thought, y'all. Excuse me. I forgot where I was going on this journey. I just got lost. My GPS cut off on me. But I will say this, man. It just seems like, okay, like you said, Mike, they have to, show these games. We're going to get them next year. But how many times, Mike? How, for the love of goodness, how many times have we heard? It's become a meme at this point. It's become a meme so much. Wait until E3 next year. That even Phil Spencer was joking about it. Just wait till E3 next year. This guy said the thing that infuriated me, and I might not even said infuriate right. Excuse me for my bad language, but
that's how mad you are.
Yeah, but
you broke your talking.
Oh man! But when Phil, but when Phil said he was more excited about what they didn't show on the E3 stage, that blew my freaking mind. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Exactly. Just opened up the roadmap and given it to us and just said, all you needed for Fable was just have it fade in with the back of a music box. Hear the music box open, and then it starts playing the Albion theme, and then it just has to say in a Fable font, now in production. And just have a little thing that goes don't stand there like a lemon. And then everyone's like, oh, it's Fable. And it's that's all you needed.
That's
all
it, man. That's it.
Just excited. And also just let us know that, Playground Games is doing it. Not even say that it's Fable, it's saying something's in production at Playground Games. And everyone knows Playground Games is making the new Fable. Great. We'll hear about it next year. There were so many moments and so many just utterly missed opportunity with all of this.
Absolutely. And the one that hurt the most, and please chime in, Cody, brother. You kind of quiet, brother. Please chime in whenever you're ready, man. But one of the biggest ball drops, I mean, at least to me, was the Halo Infinite reveal. Well, it wasn't even a reveal, but the gameplay that they said, technically it was supposed to. Exactly, Mike.
Master Chief is a jerk.
Man.
He just blew that dude's entire, life supply and probably his family pictures. He had that little thing with his kids saying, I love you, daddy. I think that got blown into deep space. And he's stuck in the cockpit with 1/3 the oxygen. Where you going, Chief? That guy better live.
Oh man! Well, they say that he's supposed to be with you the whole way through. That's at least.
Oh, we don't need a buddy cop comedy for a Halo game. Come on.
Hey man, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, but that's what they're saying. But
it would be way cooler if it was one of the grunts. If a grunt came with you the entire thing, that would be awesome, and I would be down with that.
Yeah, if he called you Green Devil the whole time. If he fetches weapons for you, you're done with combat, and you're like, where did that one really good rifle go? I think it flipped off a ledge, and he's just running out, Green Devil, and he hands you the gun, and you're like, thanks, buddy.
And you can go Fable style and pet the grunt, yeah.
When you give an Assassin's Creed with the cat and dogs and any Ubisoft title, you're like, oh, we don't grunt you want you. So, you get him his own little Master Chief armor that the grunt puts on.
Just wandering around in a helmet that's too big for he's just a wandering
Grunty Chief. Around. Master Chief and Grunty Chief.
Oh, man. Oh, man, but I thought it was just such a missed opportunity. They hyped us up last year with the Halo, the new engine that they were showing off. So I don't think everybody was out of their, I don't think it was a far-fetched idea that we were supposed to see actual Halo Infinite gameplay this year. I don't think
That end of that trailer was the perfect transition. That's the
we're
supposed to go into the mask, and we're supposed to jettison out into space, start kicking ass and taking names.
Exactly.
And seeing cool new gameplay where mechanics like in Zero Gravity and him jumping from object to object and shooting this way and making his way down, like atmospheric reentry to the Halo itself, and then getting ready to continue fighting, and that's where you pull back and end the demo, and everyone goes like, oh!
Yeah, 15,
definitely.
20 seconds of gameplay, just nice and quick, no explanations, just let us see something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand why they want to do the cinema, because they're trying to set it up as this whole, story-driven thing, and I understand that, because there's a lot of people that enjoy the Halo lore. So fine, you have that opening, this is what happened, and then, like you said, boom, right into the view of the helmet, 20 seconds of gameplay, just seeing things blow up in just different locales, and then fade to black, that's it, Scarlet title.
Exactly, man.
Forward compatible, because I guess apparently that's what it's supposed to be.
I do like the rumor, speaking of forward compatibility, of the, because I proposed this a while ago where I said, what would you think if when you go to a store, you just buy an Xbox One disc, and it doesn't matter, you can plug it into the Xbox One, it'll install the Xbox One regular version, and then you plug it into a Scarlet, it plays the Scarlet version. But
I think that's what's going to happen.
But with PlayStation 4, when you buy a PlayStation 4 disc, that's just for the PS4 version. And if you buy, there'll be a PS4 disc on the shelf and a PS5 disc on the shelf. And it'll be two separate purchases. Like, it doesn't automatically upgrade, but the Scarlet might be doing this automatic upgrading.
That's what I think is going to happen.
That's interesting.
A year, we may see that support for the Xbox One S will drop.
It should. I hope
you'll
so.
Have base levels of but it'll be great if they can keep it, the similar, on a PC. It runs at low settings. So if they can support the S for as long as possible, one, they still get people either buying into Game Pass or buying these games, still being able to play them. And then when they realize, wow, this really runs like crap, maybe I should look at one of these new Xboxes and then buy that.
Right.
That's an interesting point, Mike. Speaking of that, kind of on the same lines, just to kind of veer off just for a little bit from E3, did you guys hear the news that second SKU of the next Xbox was canceled and they're just going to focus?
Decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because every ad-driven media outlet, guaranteed, if they launch two SKUs with one being weaker, you already see it now, they're saying the PS5 dev kits are stronger than the Xbox dev kits, and it's like, it's stronger than the Lockhart dev kit specs. That's because it's comparable, and it's going to have little bits that are weaker than that. But if they launch with both of them, every ad-driven media outlet will refuse to compare the Anaconda to the PS5. They'll compare the Anaconda to the best top-of-the-line $5,000 PC. The Lockhart is the only thing they'll compare to the PS5, and always deliver an ad-driven media outlet the constructed narrative that PS5 is superior to Xbox. And that's it. And it's like, that decision was great. If they actually did make that decision, I'm hoping they did.
I do too, because I don't think it really made sense to actually have two next-gen SKUs, because they just released the X, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago?
Yeah, if you're going to have a lower-powered one, you already do. It's called the X.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So because then at that point, I mean, given the situation that I proposed, they would technically be supporting 4 different levels. So you have, your base Xbox One S/OG, your X, your Scarlet Junior, and your full, the full-blown Scarlet. And that just doesn't make sense on a financial end. I think the X would be the lower tier model in 2-3.
Yeah, and it'll be cheaper. I mean, it'll be a great entry point. Yeah, it should be. Right. It would be a great entry point to somebody that may not want to spend the possible $500 on the next gen hardware to get a really good experience. Because, like I said, I don't think they've maxed out the X, not even close yet. I don't think so. So with next gen coming up, I think that would be the perfect entry point for somebody that maybe wants to get a console for like $250 or $300. I think that'd be great, man. But, you know what? Really quickly, before we move on from Microsoft, so much more I would love to talk about with Microsoft. I thought they had It was the worst, man. I think it just was.
One segue into that before moving on to that. Goose, you should point out that the Bambi game and the story you told me, because I was
going to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
He has an interesting narrative, and I think that game goes from being like, well, this is a stupid waste of time, to be like, oh, the worst missed opportunity.
It just fortifies the whole Microsoft just made a bunch of bad decisions and terrible messaging on the conference, because the most ripped apart thing that they mentioned there was the Way to the Woods game, which is, as the internet is calling it, the Bambi game. And everybody hated it, and even Kiaun, your reaction when you're like, why
man, I was pissed.
So much gameplay from this game. And even I was looking at it going like, I'm not interested, and I did the thing where my eye went to the bottom left-hand corner and said, Game Pass. Yep. So I was watching all the various interviews, and it was Chris Charla, the guy who's in charge of the ID at Xbox stuff. He was giving an interview. I forget whether it was with Jeff Keighley or whether it was at the Coliseum or whether it was inside Xbox, but he was sitting there talking about the ID at Xbox games. And when he mentioned Way to the Woods, he said, oh, I'm really excited. Like, all of us here at Xbox are really excited about Way to the Woods, because that game was developed by a teenager in high school. And he's been spending years of his life alone learning how to program, how to animate, how to do sound and music, how to do everything for the game himself. And it's like he's in his like freshman or sophomore year of college or something. This is 4 years of his life or something that he spent just working on this game by himself, solo, starting in high school. Yep. And they're so proud that someone in high school could just spend that much time and be like, here's my game. I'm sorry, I keep saying it's made by a guy. I don't know if it's made by a guy or a girl. But whoever the creator of Way of the Woods was a teenager in high school making this game. But they could have said that.
That would have changed the whole dynamic, Goose.
They could have cut into whoever the creator was, guy or girl, like freshman, sophomore year of college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And say, hey, I started out in high school and started learning how to program in C#. I learned how to do whatever in Unity. I taught myself how to do this, and now here's my game, Way to the Woods, and just faded into the gameplay and then just kept the voiceover of him saying, I had to learn all this XYZ, blah, 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 and I'm glad that Xbox gave me all this opportunity, et cetera, and everyone would have been like, yay! And the thing is, like, Kiaun, imagine last year if Microsoft had revealed the accessibility controller and just said, here's a new controller, everyone. Man. It's got an A and a B button and a giant D-pad. And everyone's like, what the f*** up with this stupid square-shaped giant D-pad,
exactly.
A and B button? Why would anyone use this stupid controller? And then they're like, oh, sorry, we forgot to say, it's so that people who are disabled can actually play video games too. And then everyone's forehead clapping like,
it changes the whole dynamic of how you feel. It really does.
Looking like a reject DJ Hero controller.
Right.
All their messaging is just so bad and so terrible, and they make so many decisions that are so bad for the whole conference. And that, as a last note of that, the Way in the Woods, people on the internet should stop ripping this game. It was made by a teenager.
Yeah, man, I feel bad.
All the way.
Goose? It would have been great if they could have had Keanu Reeves introduce the kid. Like, really? Just have fun. People paying attention to him.
Yeah. You're breathtaking. Oh, man. Yes, indeed, man. But, like you said, it's just the messaging. Microsoft, do better. I only ripped into them, honestly, because I'm such a big fan of the brand. And it's like looking at your favorite team just getting all of the wrong players. You're drafting the wrong people when you have so many opportunities to do so much better for yourself. So, hopefully, I'm just out at this point. I can't even lie to y'all, man. I'm just out at this moment. I have no faith in Microsoft moving forward. I think Phil, he's a great guy. I guess, personally, he sounds like he's a great guy. I'm only judging him off of him wearing the Xbox hat. And as far as his leadership, I'm very questionable on it. I am. But that's just me. I'm not speaking for everybody else on the panel. I just think that they could have done better. And Phil, if you're saying you're more excited about what you didn't show, brother, it is a disconnect. It is a major disconnect with your fan base. But, I guess before we get out of here, is there any last things or words that you guys want to say about Microsoft before we end the podcast, man?
Do better.
Yeah, in terms of Microsoft, it's, how many times can you tease next year will be better. But yeah, we're dumb and we'll watch next year with our hopes up and we'll do it again. So really, the joke's on us, I guess.
And I sat there at the Austin airport in the second terminal, sitting there with our lousy Wi-Fi at the airport, trying to load stuff, just hoping. And oh man, I was glad we were on the airplane flight and we missed that debacle.
Like, I was worried because I was supposed to be flying back from Minneapolis that day, and I was like, but something changed. I didn't have to go out there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't miss it. That wouldn't have been bad if I missed that.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I know we didn't talk about Ubisoft. I thought that Watch Dogs Legion looked dope. Not too much more. Really looking forward to that.
Fool me once on gameplay, shame on you. Fool me twice on gameplay, Ubisoft. Yeah. So Watch Dogs taught me I don't care until the game's in my hands.
Yeah.
Like the Ghost Recon, they already went over that, so that wasn't much of a surprise. Rainbow Six, I guess that's great for people that like that. I miss the old
Rainbow Six.
Yeah,
Vegas
like the
3,
strategy.
Baby. Yeah, old PC one. Yeah, that
the old
was
PC ones where you set up the mission for like an hour, trying to get everything set,
laying out the path nodes and the pathfinding for all the AI to take and giving them the Alpha Bravo down to like Zulu points to tell them to take the next thing.
45-minute setup for a 5-minute mission where I just die anyway and do it again. It was there's something to be said for that, and I wish they would kind of go back to that. But hey, it's making them money, so if that's helping to support other games and hopefully pay for that Beyond Good and Evil 2 that didn't show up again.
Oh, that was disappointing.
Let's go. But Gods and Monsters looked interesting, and Roller Champions looked like it. That
looks good.
It could have some legs. I wish it was coming to consoles as well with crossplay, because I think exposure on that one would be a
huge
probably
it would be gigantic. Definitely.
We'll see what happens, because that could still be coming in the future. Skull and Bones, I'm sad I didn't see that.
That's another one that was missing. You're right, Mike.
Yeah, but even before the conference, they said it wasn't ready. So I'm thinking that's going to be a Scarlet and PS5 launch title.
That's possible.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, because like Assassin's Creed 4, while it was a terrible Assassin's Creed game, it was an awesome pirate game. Yeah. And if they could use that sort of, the baseline, then that's something I'm definitely looking forward to, because Sea of Thieves, while fun, did not scratch the
pirate
itch. Yeah.
I'm curious.
But there was no progression.
Aren't they doing a story mode now? Isn't that a year later? Isn't that supposed to be like the big? They're pulling their No Man's Sky and like, here's the content that should have been in launch.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, indeed.
That's all I got for Ubisoft.
Yeah, man. That's pretty much. And if there's nothing else to discuss, that's actually all I got too, to be honest with y'all. But I guess before we get out of here, hey, I want to thank y'all for coming out this morning, kicking it with me. Really appreciate it, brothers. I guess before we go though, are there any last words that any of you guys want to say, just in general? You know what? I'm a horrible host. Let me set this up better. I'm so terrible, man. I guess, outros. We can just start with the outros, man. I guess, Mike J, we'll start with you, brother. Is there anything that you would like to say before we roll out of here? I'm just terrible, brother. Please go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. And, I just want to say how, I guess, lucky we are to be able to see all this stuff, because I know you did a little Kiaun Storytime episode when talking about gaming magazines, and I remember back in the 90s, waiting for the issue from the summer CES or winter CES just to get, a 4-page spread of just screenshots of games that are coming out, and hopefully you get a nugget of information on them.
Yeah, man.
And the fact that we can see these videos and these press conferences from the, the safety and comfort of our own home without having to travel out, like, I think that's awesome. And
yeah, me too, man.
Maybe expectations have been set too high because of that, but like, I enjoyed the whole thing, just remembering where we came from and what we used to have to deal with to get any of this news. Now, on the flip side of that one, I'm a little disappointed because all we're getting is the video. In the late 2000s there, I know Microsoft had done it, Nintendo had tried some stuff, Sony had tried some stuff, but they would do the bringing it home style thing where you can download the demos that they were showing.
Yeah. Yes,
and
indeed.
That was cool. There weren't a lot of, I guess I'll call them Saturn announcements, because that was at the first E3 that, you can get this today. Square had a couple, Nintendo had a couple, but there weren't really that many. And those are always the nice surprises, like some of the smaller titles. So we'll say the Bambi game, right? And you can download it right now. So here you go. So something like that. That would have been nice. I mean, it was good that we did get a few things, like Secret of Mana, or the Mana collection on the Switch. That was a nice surprise that I wasn't expecting.
The Contra collection.
Yeah, the Contra collection, a release date, even though we knew that one was coming.
Right.
But, surprise things that had no releases. I mean, we knew they were coming, but okay, here you go, and boom. Last Remnant remastered. I think that came out on PS4 a couple months ago, but, so it was good. I would have liked to see more of that and more, I guess, interactivity instead of just being able to watch. Just get some of these gameplay demos that they were showing out on the floor, because there were a lot of them.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, so that's my thing. But overall, it was a fun show. I think we're very lucky to be able to experience it the way we do. And keep in mind that the majority of the gamers out there that you see buying the stuff in the stores, they don't even know that conference happened.
Right.
So we're the big fans, the enthusiasts that actually pay attention to this. So hopefully the word trickles down to them and people can make their own decisions and buy what they like. So that's all I have in terms of the show.
Very well said, Mike J. Very well said, man. I guess, Goose, we'll go to you next, brother. Any final words?
Yeah, everyone should look forward to the double A's of Star Renegade coming out on Game Pass. That's going to be a turn-based RPG like Advance Wars style tactical units. Crosscode, one word, Crosscode. It's the spiritual successor for Chrono Trigger and the Mana series as an action RPG. Already out on PC, but coming into Game Pass. It looks amazing. And then Blazing Chrome, which is a proper, awesome. When Kiaun's going like Contra on Switch, and I'm like, dude, no, Blazing Chrome. Yeah. That is a straight up true to life Contra sequel jacked up on steroids. It looks amazing. It's coming into Game Pass.
Yeah, we played a lot of that at PAX East.
Just the footage of any of it in action, I'm like, oh, this looks so good. So yeah, Blazing Chrome, Crosscode, and Star Renegade. Those are some of the double A's to look forward to jumping into Game Pass there, but worth it. So, and of course, keep on listening, everybody. And remember, everyone's always entitled to all of their opinions, etc. It's a shame that people unsubscribed when Kiaun was mad at Xbox. He can be as mad as he wants.
Just give him a hug. Send him a hug. Send him some chocolate. He's a little moody.
Microaggressions.
Send him a wink on Twitter.
Hey, it's all good, man.
Everybody's entitled to their opinions, and you can be as angry as you want about it, because we all want the platform to do better. And, keep listening, everybody.
Exactly. I appreciate that, Goose. Thank you for being here, brother. I guess last and absolutely not least, though, Mr. Cody Clark, any final words, my brother?
Well, I'm going to reflect what, Mike J said, how fortunate a world, 2019, we can go to Walmart and we can buy a 32-inch 1080p HD TV for $109. Like, this is the world we live in. Can you imagine flat screen, high, 1080p, not like 4K super whatever, but, $100. That's the world that we live in now. Like, we have that kind of, we can stream everything. We can stream Netflix to our friggin' phone. You couldn't have done that 15, we have a lot of problems, but we have a lot of advantages. So, whatever. And don't forget, Gamescom is in 57 days, 22 hours,
right.
13 minutes. So maybe everything we didn't get at E3, we'll get at Gamescom. Maybe they love the Europeans more than us. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I heard Cyberpunk is actually getting gameplay there, so.
Yeah, they are. So I'm interested. It's a 50-minute demo. It should be great, man. But, hey, I guess that's about all the time for, this episode. But I want to thank you guys, the listeners out there, for listening. I want to thank you, Mike, Goose, and Cody for being here. It's always greatly appreciated, and to be able to speak with you brothers. So, with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. And remember, enjoy the games, man. And it's nothing wrong with wanting your platform to do better. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.
Bye.